fine. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Says peace, Kevin and fam. I'll be listening while I'm running the air. Okay, great, fantastic. Says Queen Lacey and Jamie. Peace to you guys. And she says peace to the chat. That's what's up. That's what's up. Comment below. Comment below if you guys can see me and hear me. We're gonna get started on this topic. Okay. What does corny mean? Okay. People can come up, I believe, but I don't know how to bring them up. I don't know how to do that. Okay. Is that Nasha or Natia? Natia Mitchell says hi. Peace to you. My Meal says hi. Please, peace to you. I'm just trying to figure out how to work this. Let me know if you guys can see me. All right, and hear me. That's gonna be important. If we can't get that done, I can't stand a terrible live as it relates to the take. You understand? Peace Creed topic as well. Can you guys see me and hear me? I'm not getting a response to that. Yes, there. No. They got better. I turned the Wi-Fi off. I can't stand that. It's blurry. We're here and we see you. Let's see if it straightens out. Okay, you saying it's better? Okay, it's better, or is it? I'm good now. Okay, all right, we're good. We're good. It's better. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so I want to have this quick topic, okay? What exactly is corny? Okay, so I put up a post yesterday, and I don't let's see if I have it here. I got it. Hang on. No, I don't. Oh man, you guys see the title, right? Tell me the title. Woo! It was something about finding black men corny. When a white man has those same traits, it's not as corny, right? But I don't really care about the white men part of that question. I want to know what is corny. Why are women calling men corny? What exactly makes a man corny? And I do get it. I do get that there's a level of attraction that you're supposed to have for a person. You understand? A lot of times people are often trying to tell women that if a guy has these characteristics or meets these criteria, then he's a good man and you should just be with him, right? I don't necessarily believe it. I do believe attraction is a big deal, right? You have to really like the guy. Or to me, it's unfair to the guy and yourself. You're going to be miserable. If you meet a guy who has all the traits you're looking for in a guy, but the guy himself, you're not into him, you're likely going to be miserable because it's just a huge factor of relationships to be attracted to somebody. You understand? To be into them, to actually want them from within. You understand? So I always say the one that's with someone because of what they have is the one that's losing, even though the one other one, even though they're using. So I always say the one that's with a person simply because of what they have, even though they're the ones that's using, they're the ones that's losing because they're laying up under someone who they're not attracted to. And that's got to be miserable. They're having to sleep with someone, do sexual things with someone who they're not even attracted to. In my opinion, you're losing. You understand? Even if you get the money that comes with the guy or whatever. If you get the money that comes with the girl, if you're not attracted to her, you're losing because you gotta somehow tough it out. And that to me that's a miserable thing. While the person that you're using is likely excited, they're likely in love, they're enjoying their time with you, but you're miserable. With that beautiful roof over your head, you're still miserable. While he's being used, he's still happy. You understand? Even if because he doesn't know it likely. I think a lot of that stuff factors in once you know it. Good rise to you guys. Good rise, Nina. Good rise, no more drama. Absolutely. Miss Ashley, peace to you. Jackie Rogers, peace to you. It's been a good. Again, I'm not going to be before you long. I want to get to this topic, so I really do want you guys' opinions, okay? And I'm not just going to ask that question about men. What are you guys finding corny about men? Why do you guys go for the cool guy, the guy with swagger, the guy with je ne sais quoi, right? The bad boy over the guy that's corny, right? I also want to know why is it that men will pursue the half-naked loose woman with no boundaries or standards as it relates to when she has sex with the man over the woman who is disciplined. Okay, I notice I didn't say not half-naked because dressing sexy, dressing attractive is not really a problem. It's the men will pursue a woman really because she'll give it up. And if she's half naked, that's just to him that's indication that she will. Why is it that men are not willing to wait for a woman? Okay, but they they overlook a woman that they have to wait for typically, but they'll go after the woman that they feel like to give it up. Why are both of these things true? Because I look at as far as relationships as a whole, whether it's monogamy or polygamy, pursuing people based on that it doesn't often lead to longevity or any real building for that matter because you're not really into each other for each other, right? But let's deal with it, guys. Give me your comments. I really want to know what you guys think on the matter. Ladies, what makes a guy corny? Okay, let's say a guy is well put together in terms of the tangible aesthetics, not physical aesthetics, but the tangible aesthetics. Let's say he even looks nice. Let's say he has a good job. Let's say he displays leadership qualities. He seems to have a plan. He has a nice place, a nice car. This tells you that he's disciplined to pay his bills, so he can take care of himself, meaning he's responsible, right? He presents himself well. He's respected amongst his peers, but he's not funny, right? His jokes don't land like Dave Chappelle's, right? Um, he don't have a series of clubs that he can go to and get you VIP, right? Um, he don't talk cool with swagger. Um, he speaks like me, corny, right? What makes him corny? Eh, I'm. I just want to know, ladies, what makes a guy corny? I have my ideas on what makes a guy corny. I know what I tell men what makes a man corny, but um, I want to know what you guys think first. I don't want to be putting my thoughts on you guys. I want to hear it from you. I want to make sure I'm at least in the ballpark. Thank you. It's all please. Queen Jamie made me some delicious breakfast here. Thank you. So I want to know what makes a man corny. I'm not saying it. Come on, give it to me now. And men, if you're in here, and ladies, you can answer the question too. Why do you think men go for the loose woman over the woman with discipline, over the woman with boundaries? Okay, I want to know this. Yep, no more drama. This is day two. This is day two. I'm waiting for your comments, guys. You gotta come on, guys. Help a brother out. Give me some feedback. Denise Swan, peace to you. What makes a man corny is this, right? I tell you what, I'll give you my thoughts on it. You tell me, okay? What makes a man corny? Um, Now, I'm going to try to look through you guys' eyes. This is what I tell men. So if I'm wrong, let me know. I'll stop telling men this, okay? Is men being timid. I think that makes a man corny. He's timid. He likes you. He will not say it because he's afraid of being rejected. He is afraid to talk to you. He stutters in his speech. You can just tell he hasn't been around women like that, right? You can just tell he hasn't been. I would tell men, make sure that you're approaching women. Make sure you do this. This is like a practice for you. If you see a beautiful woman and you're single, speak to her. Always speak to her. Get to know her. Okay? You see a woman that's attracted, that you find attractive, go speak to her. And the more you do this, the more comfortable you get with talking to women. And I think women are more socially mature than men. Okay? They say women mature faster than men, and this is what they mean. Women are more socially mature because as soon as a woman gets of age, before she gets of age, really, all she has to do is start developing, and she'll get men who immediately treat her differently. And some men are horrible men, and so you ain't even got to get of age. There are women who claim that things have happened to them, who testify that things have happened to them uh, far before they even were even in out of the adolescent stage. You understand? So we know that women have seen a lot, probably likely seen it all, right? As soon as a woman starts to develop, her basketball coach looks at her differently if he's a guy. Her uncles look at her different if they're men. And this is very scary, okay? Grown men begin to look at her differently, and she can see it in his eyes. You understand? And so they are very socially mature because they get approached by so many different men on a daily basis. Most women can't leave the house without some guy coming up to them, and it's just the way of our life. Men are going to approach women, but um, women have seen it all. And so, for a lot of men that grow up when they're younger, they really have to build up a. It's kind of like drinking. It's kind of like smoking, right? I don't want to call it a tolerance. You understand? When they ask silly stuff all the time and do stupid stuff. Okay, men doing silly stuff and seeming immature. Okay, give me some examples too, though. Give me some examples. But I don't want to call it a tolerance. Okay, but it's one of those things where the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you get at it, and the better you are received. Right. This is why a lot of people take public speaking classes because when they get in front of people, they get nervous. You understand? It's something that pit in their stomach. You call it butterflies, if you will, nervousness, whatever the case may be. They feel uncomfortable with that situation. This happens in many men, okay, and they have to fight through that. And a lot of it is fear of rejection, but you have to fight through that regardless. And I always tell men you can't live in your head. Just speak. Just go make it happen. Don't be in your mind thinking about it. That's feminine. Okay. Men should be about action. Let the women do the thinking. Let the women do the contemplating on is this right for me? Should I do that? As a man, you see a beautiful woman, you step to her just like Denzel Washington did on American Gangster. He was at the party. He saw a woman he was attracted to. He stopped conversation and walked straight up to her. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts. See, that's not corny. That's lack of self-esteem, and it's not helping by telling an already low self-confidence man telling him he's corny. Come on, fam. Would be a terrible psychologist. Right. I already know where you're coming from and who you probably are. It's cool. Okay. But again, women find this corny. Okay. It's actually frustrating for them to sit around. They can see it. Say they're at the mall, right? You can see a guy looking at you. He's pacing back and forth. He can't get the nerve up. And let's say you actually like the guy. It becomes frustrating because he doesn't walk up to you. You understand? Now, that one guy who's really good at it, right? He's so good at it. Notice he'll get a lot of women, but he often has bad intentions or an agenda. And so women go for the guy who seems to have the charm, the wit, the charisma. But the guy who's nervous to speak, hey, excuse me, and he never even says he likes him, right? He'll talk to him, and he might find an excuse to talk to him inside the store, but he doesn't move forward with, "Can I get your number? What's your name? I find you beautiful." I'd like to get to know you better. What's your name and number so I can reach out to you, right? He's gonna follow through with that. He just simply asks him a question, and they may even respond, or they may ask him a question, but he doesn't actually bite. You understand? And for a woman, that can be very frustrating. For a man who can't make a decision, he can seem very corny. For a man trying to make a decision, right? That could be very corny. You understand? For a man that doesn't want to make a decision, let's say he picks you up for a date. Okay, he picks you up for a date, and he doesn't know where it's taking you. Okay, I don't know wherever you want to go, and you're thinking that this man has it planned out where he wants to take you. A lot of women see that as corny. A man not having a plan, a man not having his ducks in a row as far as where he wants to take you. But however, if a man already knows where he's going to take you, they see this as a man having a plan. And all these things could make a man seem corny. Now, I'm not talking about, so far, I'm not getting into the toxic side of underdeveloped women or women who's been traumatized, where they believe that you have to be a bad boy or a thug, um, or cool, wear the latest fashion, wear the latest name brands, and all these different things to be cool. I'm talking simply on a normal state. Like a normal woman would even find a man corny or immature, right? Or be frustrating, find him frustrating. Okay. So I'm just scratching the surface. Peace to you, D Ham. Welcome in, bro. So I'm just talking about what is corny when it comes to men. Because a lot of women might say a man is corny, even if he has leadership qualities, even if he presents himself well, he's responsible, he has a place, he has a car, he takes care of himself. He speaks well. But if he doesn't come off as a cool guy, if he doesn't have the charm, the swagger, the charisma, often he's deemed as corny, right? And I'm asking, what is it that makes a woman say a man is corny? My next question is, why does a man go for a woman who has low discipline, who's loose, more so than a woman who has discipline that he potentially is going to have to wait for, get to know before she's willing to give it up? Okay. So I really want to know these things. And again, I understand a physical attraction is a big part of it. If you're not attracted to somebody, hey, it is what it is. It doesn't matter if he has, because I was talking to someone about this yesterday. You can meet a woman who has all redeeming qualities, okay? But if she's not your woman, your type of woman, you still may not be with her, settle down with her, make her the one. She can be somebody else's the one, but to men, because I see this all the time in basically the red pill community, they'll tell a woman, if you meet this guy that has a job, he got all this going for him, and you don't want to date him, then you're the problem. I disagree. I disagree. There has to be some type of connection, some type of chemistry. Okay. Just like I would say, if a man met a woman who has all redeeming qualities, okay, it doesn't mean that she's the one for him. You understand? It doesn't mean that he's going to have that attraction for her. You know, these things can be complex. I believe I believe there has to be some type of connection, some type of chemistry, right? The route to YouTube, blessed beyond measure. So someone said, hang on, let me go back because I got one comment when they ask silly, when they act silly all the time and do stupid stuff. So I thought, but see now check this out. I hear that, but let's say this guy is very attractive to this woman. Now him being silly and being a clown keeps her laughing and keeps her excited and things of that nature. So I think you're talking about just a preference type of thing. Because again, I've been in school, I've been in social areas, social environments where the guy who's silly and funny, do silly stuff, he can be getting a lot of attention from women, and it can be another guy with the same personality traits who women hate, and it's typically because of how he look. Let's be real. Women are and here's the thing: men are too. Men and women are both blinded by their own attraction. If a person is attractive, we usually look over a lot of things that we would notice in somebody we don't find attractive. Let's be honest. A lot of men grow up, if they're attractive, they think they have game, right? Um, and so they can walk up to women and say basically anything and get the woman. Okay, I was that way early in life. I thought I had game when really women just found me attractive. Okay, so and my homeboys that would be with me, I would show them. Watch this. I'm gonna walk up to her and I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna do it like this. And this was just me being young. Okay, I walk up to a woman and just say, "Here, give her my phone," and she would take it and instantly just be like, put a number in there. I didn't even say it. I just walked up to her and handed her my phone, and then she'll just put a number in there. And to me, to my homeboys, when you're young, you think that's game. That's actually not game. That's not game at all. You understand? That's not the way you walk up to a woman, but it works for me. You understand? I could walk up to her and say, "Hey, put your number in my phone," and she'll put a number in my phone, right? I didn't have to come up to her with saying the right things because she had already made it up in her mind that she liked me. Now, to be honest with you, I never walked up to women who didn't give me a second look. Okay, if I looked at a woman and she looked at me maybe 3 seconds or more, and then she looked away, I knew she was attracted to me. Women don't typically hold eye contact with you if they're not attracted to you. Okay, so fellas, if you see a woman and she's looking at you longer than 3 seconds, even if she looks away after, she was attracted to you. Do you understand? If she don't like you, she don't even want you to see her see you. You understand what I'm saying? Um, so the holding of eye contact, and this is why they say women are the choosers, men are um, the approachers, right? She'll send a choosing signal. Men are to recognize that, and then he walks up to her based on that. If men are walking up to women who did not give him any clue that she was feeling him, likely he's going to get rejected, and sometimes with an attitude. Okay. No More Drama says a man automatically think that if a woman is dressing provocative, that she's not a keeper and she's just looking for a good time, and she's showing she has no self worth. He don't have to commit. And this is now listen, and this doesn't make it true of it because even sometimes women just like style, they like fashion, they watch TV just like men do, and just because a man goes out dressed a certain way, it doesn't make him a certain way either. But men will see um, more than they need to see, and it will get them in their lustful state. It'll get them in their lower chakra. Okay, and so it doesn't necessarily mean he don't think she's a keeper. You just take him out of his mind state. And I'm telling you, men have different sides. Women have different sides to them. And to be honest with you, I've seen that. I've seen a woman say, I mean, I've seen a woman even tell me that she would rather take her time with me because she actually likes me. She sees me for long term, so she don't want to just get right into the SCX department. She wants to get to know me first, and she doesn't want me to think that she's loose. But for a bad guy, she would do that with him a lot sooner because she doesn't actually want to keep him. She wants to have fun with him. While they want to do the same with me, they want me to see them as a good person or not, at least not be turned off by thinking they're a bad person. You understand? So they'll move differently with me. Men are the same way. A man can be looking for a good woman. He can be looking for a relationship. That doesn't mean that he still won't smash something. You understand? So it's important that you keep a man in his right mind. And women in this way, you guys are leaders too. We both are actually leaders. How you dress can keep a man in his right mind, to be honest with you. Not that how you dressing is wrong, but if you're dressing more seductively, you might take him out of his mind state and now he's thinking about something else. Let's just say, for instance, a person is looking to go grocery shopping for healthy food. Okay. But he drive past, well, I would say back home when I was a kid, you drive past the drop in. You smell that drop in chicken, your mind state just changed, right? You was on your way to buy some healthy food, some rice cakes and shit. But you smell that drop in chicken, man. Like, one more day ain't gonna hurt me. Oh, I've been on this diet for a little while. It ain't gonna hurt me to pull over here and get this drop in chicken because it pick your nose up like Tom and Jerry and hey you floating, okay? And women are gorgeous, okay? It's almost they're almost irresistible to men when they're sexy like that. So you see them with that ass out, them legs showing, them breasts perked up, they looking good. Yo, it's almost impossible to not go into your lower chakra. I'm just saying. Guys go for women with low discipline because in the black community, their mind, that black, hang on, in the back of their mind. Sorry, I said black community. Why did I say that? Guys go for the women with low discipline because in the back of their mind, they don't want anything more than a fling. The woman who is more reserved and respectful demands a higher level of maturity. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And isn't that from our own immaturity, right? Right? Because what you're willing to work for has more value, right? But what falls right into your lap, what does that truly get you? Because what we learn is these women who are here to get, there's more risk involved with them, not just health wise, but their behaviors are typically more toxic than a woman who's going to be disciplined because she knows what she wants, she knows what she's looking for, and even though she loves too, she wants to have sex too, she knows that she doesn't want to do that yet. You understand? And so it's an immature man who avoids hurt and goes to the low hanging fruit, so to speak. So this takes Joy Will says if it takes more work to sustain in regards to a personal development and spiritual awareness, men are ready for that, are more inclined to pass up on that woman and vice versa. I totally agree. Come on, man. Call and messed it up. So you guys can hear me but not see me, right? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me still. I'm trying to get the video back, but you can hear me. Okay, let me see something. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Huh? Okay, yeah, yeah, I got it. I think they can hear me now. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, good, good, good. I was saying that I believe that our ancestors had it right, and I believe as time went on, the cultures that we live in, and that's through colonization, all these different things, these different teachings, slavery, all these different things have messed up how we create families. Okay, so we talk about the woman with discipline. Man, I want you guys to hear me clearly. And Ham, you in here, um, fellas, if you're in here, put a one in the chat. Let me see what men I have in here. Let me see how many men I have in here. real quick. I want to see how many men. Put a one in the chat if you are male. Okay, Joe Will. I know D Ham's a male. He may be driving. My hub's in here somewhere. Okay, dope, Creed. So, men, let me say this. I'm sure we understand that we are leaders, correct? We are leaders. So, I believe the leader has to take more responsibility on his shoulder. I'm not saying blame, but responsibility. Okay. Back in the day, lifespans were shorter. Men didn't live long. We didn't live to be 40 and 50 and 60 years old. So it was imperative that we started families early so we could get into the future. It was imperative to start families shortly after your rites of passage in your early adulthood, because you needed to create children to further the legacy, to help till the land, to help maintain the land. It was an important thing, okay, for life. Be fruitful and multiply. And I'm not quoting the scripture. That was the thought, and that was not the way of survival. It was the way of thrival. Okay, um, you recreate yourself, and you find a worthy woman. The woman finds a worthy man, and there was rites of passage to determine this. Okay, you see this in tribes even to this day, and I think they have it right. Okay, they make sure that their children are wife material and husband material long before they ever leave the house, and that is the thought in mind. We're making sure that they're able to go out into the workforce. Okay, and we're not focused on family. And so, while our children become great workers and things of that nature, um, they're they're not they don't understand very little understanding of family and what it takes to make a family work, a family dynamic work. And so many of us lack um, mature the mature aspects when it comes to being a father or mother, as we don't have an understanding of what it takes to hold a family together. And a lot of that is in your communication skills, um, understanding how your partner feels, working with your partner to achieve goals. Many relationships are just about uh, how they treat each other, not where they're going as a couple, what type of children they're going to have, how they're going to father and mother their children. These things are not really discussed. Whereas you can see back in the day, this was the sole priority as to what type of family he was going to create. And so a rites of passage was a male went through a series of obstacles, a series of teachings, a series of tests, and he was determined to be worthy by the time he was even 12 to 15 years old. Okay. Um, a woman did the same thing. By the time she was 13, 14 years old, she already knew how to take care of a home. She already knew how to cook, clean, all these different things back in the day because lifespans were shorter. I still believe that while I still believe that we should know these things. Not that we should be having sex that young, because we shouldn't be, but we should know these things early in life, what it takes to be a wife and a husband. Okay, these things are very essential because if you don't, you're going to recreate generational curses in your children. Most of us, we're just flying by the seat of our pants, and it's because we didn't have the correct teaching, right? But look at tribes today. Look at tribes. Go look at tribes that haven't been touched by colonization. Look at how they move. Okay, there's rites of passage. It may be a little weird getting cuts on your skin to display that you can take pain, and all these jumping from high up to prove that you're a man and you're not afraid of a fall. Um, Going out and trying to hunt an animal twice your size and surviving that, little weird, right? But I believe that, and I can't take anything from that because I know there are reasons for that, right? Challenging your fears, again, how much pain you could take, your durability, and your the hunt, what your warrior man is like, how the ability to provide and protect. I get it, but I would say these are probably extreme based on how we see things today, right? But the way we see things today, we don't have animals that infiltrate our societies, right? We don't live especially here where we live now. Now I tell you, I saw a video in somewhere in Colombia. There was a wild panther just out on the streets somewhere. That was scary as hell. Um, but you don't see stuff like that in America unless some zooed animal has escaped, right? So it's not like the men in our homes are having to worry about large animals invading their houses and things like that. Now I have seen bears get in people's houses, stuff depending on where you live. But let's go back to tribal times. That was a real issue. Okay, a woman's time of the month would bring wolves, animals, and predators, right? And so you had to be able to fight off animals. You had to be able to fight off animals when you were hunting as well as they try to steal your kill. Um, and so it's a whole different aspect to protection in tribes in the in the wild world than it is in peace and discussion board than it is in today's time, right? But with all that being said, relationships started a lot quicker. It wasn't a date a woman for 6 months and then y'all finally commit. The man was committing day one. And this is why I say responsibilities on the man's shoulders, not to blame. Okay. Women shouldn't even be able to be loose because men shouldn't pursue them unless they're willing to commit to them and be their woman, the woman they provide for, the woman they protect, the one who's going to dedicate her womb to him so he can have children with them and start his life early while he's young. Do you understand? Because back in the day, it wasn't no how much money do you have. There was no money. So how did relationships start when there was no money? And now we're asking questions like, well, how much money you make a year, right? How much you got in savings? There was no savings. You know, animals spoil, so you got to eat them when you hunt them, and so you can't hoard the animals to yourself. You got to split it with the tribe because there was nowhere to store it. There was not even refrigeration. Okay, so understand that a man wasn't judged based on what he had in his pocket or in his bank account. He was judged based on his body type and his abilities to hunt, his abilities to provide. And that's what a woman was judged. And she found a man who was strong, a man who was capable, and she committed herself to him because she knew her life was better off with this type of provider. Number one, you get his genes. If he's a strong, capable man, you get his genes, number one. And that right there is the gift that keeps on giving because that child is going to be your first employee, your first business owner, and the person that you leave your legacy to. So if you see this in nature, this even happens now. And this is why I tell people polygamy and monogamy, we have these different words, but in true nature, it's polygamy. Multiple women will rather choose one man who was capable, who had great genetics to pass on, than a guy who was undersized, um, and under able. Okay, not he didn't have the same abilities. That guy often didn't get a wife, and if he did, it was one. You understand? And that guy, his legacy didn't flourish faster because one family, one man, one woman can only create a child at a time unless he's blessed enough to have twins. Okay, and so a family that multiple people are working together to create a family, a man could have 5 children on the way if he was strong enough and capable enough. You know, you look at horses today. Horses do a lot like humans do. Horses will find a dominant male because that dominant male is going to be dominant. He's going to have access to the water hole, access to the resources, and he'll fight off any horse who isn't capable of defeating him. And so many horses will have to wait on the outside until that horse is done with getting his food and drink first. And so what the females will do is they'll get with that horse. They'll breed with that horse. It doesn't mean they won't step out on them because they will, but they'll commit to that horse. You understand why? Because he has access to the resources. He has great genetics, and you want to create your children after him. He's strong. He's the strongest one. You understand? And so I think in life today, a loose woman is looked at as a bad thing. She's looked at as immature. But honestly, man, you guys are going to get right to it anyway after the commitment. So I think the problem with this is, Allah, Kevin, call you when I can. Okay, Anna, I don't know you, but we'll see what's up with that. um, um, I think it works like this. Why do men go for the loose woman over the disciplined woman? Men themselves are not disciplined, and you attract who you are, right? But if a man knows his plan, he knows what he wants out of life, and he's willing to commit to this woman, what's the point of waiting to do all of that? Because again, back in the day, there was no waiting. You didn't have an option to wait. Often, after you went to your rites of passage, that ritual, and you picked your person, you were back, making it happen at that moment, and that was marriage. There was no legal form of marriage at all. I heard someone say the other day that, referring to my wives, that biblically I had one wife. That's not true. Biblically, I have two wives. Now, according to legalities today, I have one legal wife, but biblically, your husband or wife was who you slept with, and that was just the facts. Once you guys slept together, it was, and you were committed. That was a relationship. That was it. Okay. Now it gets a little deeper because you're talking about paying for a wife with a dowry. This is why you see the scripture. If you were to grape a girl and humble her, then you have to pay her father for her. You have to marry her. You have to pay a dowry because that was the way to marry a woman, is to buy her from her father, so to speak. And you see this still in culture today. They'll trade animals. They'll trade resources. They'll trade routes. Let's just say you need to access this road to be able to go trade here, and maybe this family owns that road. They may give you their daughter for that, and that again, that goes back into misogyny and all these different types of things. But that was their way of life. They didn't know these words. With your son, you're going to leave your legacy to him. Your daughter is going to get a legacy from the man she marries because his father will leave a legacy to him. Do you understand? And so you would want your daughter to go to a strong legacy, someone who has something. And so you giving him something for his daughter proves you had something to give. And that comes off as very misogynistic and things of that nature. But, you know, it eventually went, oh, you ready to go already? Hey, okay, give me 30 minutes. You want to just go? Okay. Huh? Okay, I'll do it right now. You make sure you safe too. I'll be able to see you get in the car here though. Okay. Capable man, capable woman, create your family early while you're young. Okay. Um, this way you have time to raise them up, have more children to raise them up, have the children who are older now help you with your next children. Take those children hunting with you. This is you giving them a job. Take those children out in the field and garden with you. That's you giving them a job. Your children do whatever you do. They clean the house with you. They hunt. They skin the kill. All this stuff is done. Um, and see now, it's all a broken home. Even if you have a mother and father in the home, because we're not teaching our children how we make money. We go to work and we come home and take care of them. And we often do this until they're grown. Meanwhile, in tribes, their children are already helping them hunt. By the time they're 7 or 8 years old, they're already helping hunt. Our children don't help, our children don't bring money in until typically they're leaving the house on their way out the door. By this time, you've already used your resources to take care of them. You understand? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send my baby girl this thing. Jay, you wanna come say hi? And I sent this to you, but his name is Ivan.
Okay.
His license number, that's his car, and he's 4 minutes away, 3 minutes away. And my beautiful baby,
Hey, everybody.
get my face back. He don't look like his mama. He like her mama. I
Okay.
love you.
I love you too. And you sent it to me?
You got it.
All right. I'll text you when I'm ready.
Okay, baby. Everybody has a different interpretation of corny. My own interpretation of corny is ignorance and trying to be like the crowd. Okay, a man not a man who doesn't know himself. I can see that too. I can see that too, and that's why I always say be yourself, man. Um, so when I was young, I was taught game was how cool you presented yourself to a girl, how you said it like, what's up, baby? How you doing, girl? How you doing, baby, baby? That's game. That ain't game. Game is your ability to tell a woman the truth. Don't lie. Stop lying. Stop lying. If you on whatever it is that you're wanting or seeking from her, tell her the damn truth. Because women will go for it based on who they are. You don't need to lie to them. They hate being lied to. So I think game is a man's ability to tell her the truth. No matter what, even if it stands losing her attention or losing her affection, tell her the damn truth. When I was betting for polygamy, I told women, "Hey, I'm looking for polygamy." Told them straight up. And I had many women that I was dating who was down with that, who was willing to do that. You understand? I made my choices from there, but I had many women who was down with the idea of polygamy with me. You understand? And that was, if you ask me, that is game, saying straight up what it is you're looking for. So if a man says, "I'll be honest with you, Miss Lady, I'm not interested in a long-term relationship. I just want to have a little fun." That's game if he's telling the truth. But if he's out there saying, "Yes, I want a long term relationship, I'm really seeing you like that," and as soon as he gets it, now he switches up, women feel very cheated. They feel manipulated and lied to. Oh, I'm rich, I got money, I'm a producer, I'm a music producer, I'm a movie producer. You find out he work at the gas station, right? This is not game, this is lying. You understand? This is Grand Rising, this is absolutely right. We have to straighten the tree while it's young so it'll grow properly. You're absolutely right. That's right. You're absolutely correct. But to that, because most of us, our development has been arrested, meaning our development has been frozen due to slavery, due to colonization, that we frankly don't know how a family works. And we're in one because we're social creatures and we desire intimacy. So we're in a relationship, but yet not fully capable of teaching our children how to go create a healthy relationship. Do you understand and what they should entail? First of all, a relationship shouldn't just be about you guys' sexual interest or what you do for each other. A relationship should be looking into the future. This is the person you're about to build your life with. And so, if you look at it like that, you're going to be looking at a whole different list of criteria before you uh, commit to a woman and say, "Look, it's me and you." Before you sleep with the man and say, "It's me and you." You understand? But we went through so many different cultural things that have changed how we see the world. Let's talk about it. Go back to the 70s. Okay, it was free love. This is not a cultural thing where your tribe is teaching this. It's a societal thing where it's being advertised on TV. Disco balls, bell bottoms, being loose, sleeping with whoever you want to sleep with, and calling it free love. Okay, and you got people who weren't cultured, okay, who's trying to find themselves, who don't understand how families work. They're fully invested in that. And these are grandparents and our parents, right, Dham? These are grandparents and our parents who was out here free loving. And so a lot of our fathers are men who wasn't ready for a child, and so maybe they wasn't even there for us like they should have been, or maybe they stepped up because they were having a child, but they didn't pursue her for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Many of our mothers were the same way. They wasn't intentionally trying to have a child. They was messing with this guy. Hey, they met him at a club. They met him at a bar, and that song came on. Do you understand? And so they went and they did it, and that was the way of life. It wasn't even frowned upon. You understand? And I mean, honestly, that free love thing has continued out through all of these different generations. And I say each generation is like a 10-year span. You get into the 80s, it's pretty much the same. You watch the movie Austin Powers, that's talking about the 60s and 70s, I believe. But if you look at the movies that we grew up watching, it's depicted that, you sleep with who you like. The Ham said facts, kid. Absolutely. Um, Joe Will says, relationship equals two words, relation and ship. It should be taking you somewhere. Absolutely. And depending upon where you are trying to go, should determine the type of person you create a relationship with. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So now we live in a different time where relationships are seen more for happiness, what it does for you, right? Now you go further back. Now, I tell people the first thing, I do not believe in religion, but these things are in religious books as being barred or being frowned upon because they didn't lead to creating generations. Okay, so take homosexuality, for instance, lesbianism, homosexuality, gay men, gay women. These things are frowned upon because they didn't see the life in it. They don't create children. So with no children, there's no legacy. And for many parents today, if you find out your child is that way, the first thing you're thinking is, "So I'm not gonna get grandkids." You see what I'm saying? And that's seen as something that's unhealthy. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You understand? But we know it's a way of life now. So many people are this way. They profess to thinking like this without any trauma happening to them. But two people of the same sex do not make children. Let's be honest. And that's what they wanted relationships to be about: creating children, creating children. Even in societies where it was polygamous, and like say the 300, the society of the, you heard the story, you heard the movie 300, right? The Spartans, they had a society where women had two husbands. The reason was so many men was going to war that man could die at war, and so it was seen as logical to have another husband while he's at war, so she could still bear children, because many times they'd be at war for years. And so the woman's time frame of having a child, a healthy child, is, I mean, let's be real, they didn't live much longer then. Of course, now they'll tell you 35, something like that, 34, 35, before they reach geriatric pregnancy. But back in the day, people wasn't even living to be that old. They was getting taken out by common colds and plagues and things of that nature. So people wasn't having time to waste, and they lived based on the environment they lived in. You understand? So if you only live to be around 30, you're starting to have children that probably before 18. Do you understand? And so if you're not going to let 3, 4 years go by, testing, 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 testing. Can you guys hear me? Yes, yes. Okay. Good, good, good. Great, great, great. Okay, okay, cool. Thank you guys. So, what was I saying? It'll come back to me if it was important. All right. The point I'm getting at is this: the further you go back, the more our thinking was actually divine. We weren't thinking about ourselves and what happiness an individual could bring us. We were thinking about our legacy. We were looking 100 years into the future. And so it was important that you got somebody with the criteria that meant longevity, that meant loyalty. Okay, so a woman who was giving herself up to all these different men, she wasn't seen. I was talking about geriatric pregnancies. Okay. Um, yeah, so I was saying that, back in the day, we didn't live long enough to even see that, to even know about geriatric pregnancies. You understand? We live in a much safer world now, so we're living longer, and so now we're learning a lot of these things. We've learned a lot of these things, right? And a lot of women still are not even hip to that. And you'll hear them say, "I'm gonna wait until I'm in my mid 30s to have children." It's like, it's actually better to start your relationships when you're young. Even when women saying, I'd rather a man have all these different things going for him, a house, car, money in the bank, all this stuff. It's better to build with him. It's better to build with him based on his potential, and he build with you based on your ability to nurture, your kindness, your sweetness. Because all these things, man, yield to a healthier family overall. You understanding what he has in him, you understanding his plan for life, and this should happen when you're young. A man has so much to prove because a woman can't risk getting with a man that cannot provide. You guys just laying down, being in love with each other does not bring food into the house. It does not protect the home. It does not create a legacy. So she doesn't have a choice to be able to move freely and just date a guy because he's cute or because he's funny. It's so much more to that. Okay. But because a man, he's the utilitarian, he has more leeway to say, okay, well, she's beautiful to me. I like her body type. But all these things are still linked to great genetics, meaning health. A woman who is in better shape, who took better care of herself physically, was seen as a good quality to have, even if he's not being superficial or shallow. It meant better health. You understand? So a woman who had never had children, who was heavier set and things of that nature, she often was looked over versus a woman who was in better shape because you guys are going to go hunt together. And a lot of people think that, well, a woman shouldn't work, a man should work. That's hoopla. That's a one-sided relationship that it's just going to be going in circles. If you got one leg moving, you're just going to be going in circles. One leg is pivoted, the other one's moving. You're just going in circles. It's like this. A relationship's like this. You understand? Um, and I'm saying it to say, you go back in the day, women hunted too. They may have didn't hunt with the spear like the man, but they hunted with the arrow. And many of them were better at hunting, at shooting that arrow than men. They were more accurate than men. If you go back through history, many women won archery contests and things like that. So it proves that a woman could hunt. She just couldn't do it at the same level of a man. And here's why: men are stronger, men are faster. Okay, so if a woman can shoot down a deer, she could do that, but that doesn't mean she can pick it up and carry it. Do you understand? So, um, a man and a woman works very good together. Women have better eyesight as far as seeing up close. Okay, big seeing colors as well. When it came to picking fruit and harvesting fruit, women can see these things better. It's been proven that women see more ranges of color on the spectrum than men do. Okay, but men see better in the distance. Women see better up close. Do you understand? And so when you put us both together, that creates a dynamic duo. While he's looking out for the animal to hunt, she can be looking around him for the animal that may potentially attack him. While his eyes are on the prize, she's got her eyes on him and the surroundings, making sure that he's safe. Now you see this in nature. The lioness and the lion hunt together. Why? You might look at it and say, well, that's just, if you apply our eyes today to the lion tribe, we would say he's misogynistic. He makes the women go out and hunt while he sits there and watches. And he's stronger than them. Why do they hunt? Well, women have the lionesses have more stamina. Okay, there's more other lionesses as they're all with him for his genetics and his ability to protect them and secure a area of resources. So other lions gonna want to hunt where he hunts, but because he's dominant, they're not gonna come anywhere near him. So this means that the lioness will choose him because she can raise her children with him and not be bothered, and they can have a larger land to hunt off of, right? So the lion, we would look at the lion from here and say the lion is a misogynist. He sits and he lets them hunt while he preserves his energy. There's a reason for that. Okay. While the lionesses go hunt, the male sits back because he knows that Once that animal is taken down, now everybody's at risk. You got the hyenas, you got the other lions, other predators who's going to want to come and steal that. So what they'll do is they'll hunt down the animal. The lion will often show himself to breathe fear and make the animal run the other way, while the lionesses will subdue him by setting up like a little, it's like a trap. You understand? So the lionesses will take him down, make the kill, and then the lion comes over. He eats first. Well, why does he eat first? Because the woman is the one who killed him. Well, the lion eats first because while he's eating, the lionesses look out to make sure nobody's coming. That way, he can get a full belly. When he's had his fill, he sits back and lets them eat and becomes that lion that's going to protect him if anybody else comes up. So there's a strategy to this. It's not misogyny. The lion doesn't go in his mind and say, I'm better than the women. The women are not saying we're less than the man. It's a strategy. Do you understand? Now, human nature has been demonized. You got all these psychologists who call human nature toxic words, like misogynistic for being a man. So if a man says, look, I want to work and provide for my family, are you a misogynist? No, it's natural for a man to want to work and provide for his family. It's natural for a man to want to give his lady a cushy life. It's natural for a man to want to do those things. That's natural. That's just like now it's called simping when a man leads with gifts, when a man takes a woman out before she's ever done anything for him. Now it's called simping. When that's a man is being a man. You look at this now. Look at nature. Men present something to the female. The male presents something to the female to show that he's worthy of being of breeding with. What does it indicate? Not only can I hunt enough for me, but I can hunt enough for someone else. Because one day, even though she can hunt now, when she's pregnant, she won't be able to. And he's going to have to hunt for both of them. This is why you have to display this before time. This is not him simping. So a man saying, not only do I have enough for me, I have enough to take you out. I have enough to get you this nice outfit, to buy you this piece of jewelry, to do this thing. Long before we've ever solidified a relationship, I'm doing these things to show you the type of man I am. Typically he's taken advantage of for that now. He's seen as a simp. He's seen as a weak man. And typically, like I said, our thoughts on the matter are very skewed when we're looking at human behavior. This is actually truly human behavior. You understand? Um, it's just a fact for a man to when he's into a woman to want to give her something. This is natural. But we're telling men now, don't you do a damn thing for her until she's done something for you. I've even heard men say he won't even take a woman out until she slept with him. And to me, that's asinine right there. That's crazy. Because as a man, as a utilitarian, as a leader, this is part of it, man. It's part of it. Um, it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, but it should cost you something to get in her presence, to get to know her. Again, it's you proving to her that you not only can provide for but you can provide for a family. I tell my sons this all the time that before you bring a person into your life, make sure you're capable of taking care of yourself and another person and another person. Do you understand? And because you don't want to bring a woman into something that's struggling, you just don't. Um, and I'm not saying be rich, but be capable of taking care of two people to where your sacrifice can take care of you and her because you understand that two makes more, right? Y'all coming together eventually, y'all praying to the universe for a child every time y'all have sex, okay? And because prayer is action. And every time you sleep with someone, your prayer is bring me a child. And you might say, well, I don't want to have, well, that's because you are a liar. We're liars. Human beings are liars. We'll put a condom on. We'll do plan Bs. We do all this stuff while praying for a child. And you having sex with another person is asking for a child from the universe because we know how to get a child, right? It's magic. You two come together and it creates a child, right? So we try and get in between that, which is blasphemous if you ask me. And I tell you what, if you took away the condoms and all these different things, people would slow down. They would act differently. You understand? If you took away the condoms, contraceptives, and all these birth controls and things of that nature, people wouldn't be so quick to just sleep with each other. They wouldn't risk it. I ain't sleeping with him. I ain't sleeping with her. Shit. I don't know her like that. Like I ain't trying to have no child with her. I was just want to have some fun with her. Right. Right. That didn't go on back in the day. We were actually very mature back in the day. Now we're very immature because we're thinking more about desire and what how it feels to have sex. We're thinking more about our own. We're thinking about more about ourselves. I can't find the words right now for some reason, and I'm very wordy, but I can't find the words right now. Okay, but if we really thought like our ancestors thought, we would be looking years into the future and picking a person that we can get into that future with, right? And that's a capable person, regardless. Okay, capable person. All right. So when you fast forward to today, why do men choose a loose woman over a woman who's disciplined? Because he doesn't have to commit, just like Joe said. He doesn't have to commit, and he gets it. He gets his cake and eats it too. See, right now I have two wives that I'm committed to that I have to take care of, and people say I get my cake and eat it too. Actually, no, I don't. I'm providing for women. Now, if I were single, because most men on here, if you're single, you slept with more women than I have in the last 6 years. I've only slept with two women in the last 6 years. Most single men cannot say the same. They've slept with way more than that. Okay. And they haven't bought any of them anything. They haven't taken care of them at all. They haven't provided for them at all. Where mine comes with the burden of provisions and protection, commitment. Okay. So, and if you're monogamous, it's the same way. You've likely slept with one woman if you hadn't been out here running the streets. You slept with one woman the last few years that you've been in a relationship. But a single man, he gets to get out here and dip and dab, right? And what's crazy is he's not being criticized. But me being in a polygamous relationship, well, I'm only sleeping with two women, I'm being criticized. Okay. And my women are being told that they're crazy and stupid. But meanwhile, single men sleep with single women. Those single women are sleeping with those single men, knowing those single men just got finished sleeping with a single woman because they know he's not um, doing practicing celibacy, right? So she's sleeping with a man who she knows has slept with a woman who's let him, right? And he goes sleep with the next who let him because they're not committed, and she's not getting any promise of longevity from him or provisions from him. And those women are not called stupid; they're just called single. You understand? Where my two wives are being called stupid, gullible, pygmies, but they have a man that they have secured who takes care of them, who provides for them to the point to where they don't have to work physical jobs. Joe Will says facts. The universe is reactionary, meaning it responds to our actions more so than our words. This is shown in our children. They listen to what we do more than what we say. Absolutely. That's why it's better to be disciplined over shouting at your children. I did a video yesterday. Charleston White was saying the people out here trying to correct somebody else's life. Meanwhile, they haven't even brushed their teeth yet. They haven't even made their bed up yet. They haven't cleaned their house. They haven't raised their children today, but they're out trying to tell another adult how to live their life. I said, man, he was cooking. He was cooking because a lot of people are not where they want to be in their lives, but they're out telling other people how to live their lives. And I don't mean um, talking about issues in our communities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about watching somebody else's life and then trying to say, I'm going to create a video to talk bad on their life. Let's say my life, I'm polygamous, right? We don't put out any toxic behavior. We love each other. We raise our children. We're not arguing. We're not out here cheating on each other. We're not out here doing any of these things. But people will wake up almost daily to try and pick our relationship apart. Meanwhile, their relationship isn't where they want it. Their goals have not been met. They're not where they want to be. And most of us aren't where we want to be. And so you got to think that's a real problem to um, to in our society is that we are focused on other people instead of ourselves. Many of them don't even like the place they stay in. Their places is riddled with rats, roaches, and birds. But they will wake up daily to talk about somebody else, and their life is not together. And so I made a determination. If I feel that they don't have a right to talk about me and my family, and their life ain't together, then I don't have a right to respond to them because their life ain't together. I don't have a right to respond to them because my life ain't together. So if I haven't hit my goals yet, me responding to what they're saying about my life or my family in any direction is stepping away from my goals because that don't accomplish my goals. So I don't have a right to respond to anybody until I accomplish my goals. Um, and they don't have a right to be talking to me about my life, but I know they will continue. But I don't have a right to respond. I made that decree in myself. That 199 says, I must agree with what you were saying, Kevin. It isn't any difference than being single and having multiple relations. It's actually worse because you're not being committed to any of these people. You understand? So this man that's out here sleeping with whatever woman who will allow him, he goes out to the club to find a woman, or he meets a woman online. And he does this. I've been single and I had him lined up. I had them lined up. Do you understand? And I didn't have to give them a damn thing. You understand? They just fly to me and stay with me. I ain't have to give them shit. And so I can tell you now, it's more of a responsibility to be with the two women that I'm with right now than it was dealing with the many women I was seeing when I was single. You understand? Didn't cost me a thing. I saw that he made a lot of sense. Absolutely, it did, man. Unfortunately, a lot of grown men think that way, and it's disheartening. It's true. It's true. And it's because we don't really understand what we're seeing, because we don't have an understanding of what it takes to build a family and the long term aspect to any relationship, man. Says Kev, they say that about you and your wives because they're miserable. Hey, and some people actually think that way, Beham. Some people actually think, well, these women are willing to share a man, they must be broken in some way. And it's natural to think that way when you grow up with the colonizer's mindset. I mean, you can't blame them for thinking that way. You understand they were trained to think that way. But before the colonizer came, there was no word called monogamy. There was no word called polygamy. Okay? It was a way of life that you find a good man, you work with him to create a future. And multiple women would do this. And here's the kicker: for us to even believe that we are monogamous is asinine. For us to even believe that we're monogamous is asinine. When people can't be you, they talk about you. Just pure jealousy. That's true too. And let me point out what I mean by we believe that we're monogamous. Okay, we've all had multiple partners. You're not monogamous. And somebody, well, I mean, at the same time, then you're changing the meaning of it. Okay, monogamous is having one person for life. Now you may say, well, no, it's not. It's having multiple partners. That's serial monogamy. So you're saying I can sleep with who I want, be with who I want, and then when I get with the person, I'll stop that and just be with them, or I'll just be with this person. If it don't work out, we'll cut ties, and then I'll go be with this person. That's serial monogamy. Okay, true monogamy is you would not have a desire to sleep with somebody else at all. You want to stay with your partner, one partner, and be with them for life. And I'm gonna show you something. People will argue this from the standpoint of what they personally like. They'll go with they'll be the exemption to the rule. When I'm talking about the rule, okay, cheating is 50-50, meaning men cheat just as much as women cheat. Women cheat just as much as men cheat. We wouldn't be talking about cheating in monogamous relationships if we were actually monogamous. If we were monogamous, do you realize we wouldn't have to negotiate a commitment? You wouldn't have to tell a person, hey, look, I expect you to be faithful to me and be loyal to me. These wouldn't be words. So our nature is not that of a monogamous person, because we have to be disciplined in order to be faithful. So if you're in a relationship with someone, you know that you can still be tempted by another person, and it requires discipline for you not to sleep with that person. And men know this. You go out on a damn work vacation, you know you better have your damn whole armor of God on, because if you meet a beautiful woman, she's into you, it's going to be difficult. And so you're going to have to be disciplined to not do that. It doesn't matter how much you love your woman. It doesn't matter how much you love your woman. It's a discipline. It takes discipline for you to be faithful. Am I wrong, men? Does it not take discipline for you to be faithful? Men, you can't tell me that when you got a woman, when you're with somebody, you just don't feel nothing for no other woman. Come on now, don't care. Be honest with us, man. It takes discipline. And we want our women to understand that it takes discipline. So when we're faithful and loyal to them, we want them to treat us good. We want them to be kind to us, to give us peace, to give us nurturing, because we're not going out and getting it from nowhere else. We need it from you. And so when we're being faithful and they're not being sweet, it's 10 times more frustrating. And the first thing a man will want to do is go out and get it somewhere else. Why is that if we're monogamous? The first thing a woman will want to do if a man isn't providing, if he isn't being a man and showing up as a man, the first thing she'll do is get another man, have somebody on backup that she got lined up. And you can see this in the cultural norm. We ain't talking about the exemptions. So people argue monogamy because they're comfortable with monogamy. Okay. It's just the fact they're comfortable with the idea of it, but they're ignoring the fact that we are polygamous people trying to be monogamous. We have to fight and be disciplined to be faithful to each other. You understand? So the world is full of fettered souls. People aren't even sure of their own mission, yet have the audacity to speak ill of a person who's living in theirs. It shows we value entertainment over intellect. Absolutely, brother. You're absolutely correct. I like how you think too. I really do, man. Your comments just be hitting, they be on point. Um, but guys, this argument that we are not polygamous beings is ridiculous. We may be being monogamous because that's our cultural norm now. It's what is considered legal based on the colonizer and whatever the case may be. But let's be real, man. We get tempted just like the rest of them. You understand? We get tempted just like a single man does. A woman walk by you that's beautiful, thoughts gonna come through you, feelings gonna come through you because in your loins, men, you are a seed, you are a supplanter, you are a seed giver. You are. You are, man. And okay, and men, good men who are monogamous, they likely have two or three children. When I think they deserve a whole tribe of children. Because the terrible men out here who have no commitment. They having 10 children with 8 different women. You understand? Because they don't practice any discipline. They don't tell anybody they got these children. They don't tell anybody they got these women. And before you know it, this man who has no discipline has had way more children with in broken homes because he's not going to be there for them, likely at all. Okay, and potentially he can't be there for all of them, even if he's there for some of them. Now he's had 8 children, so he's more biologically successful than a man who is a good man who's righteous, who wants to lead his tribe. He'll get two or three because his monogamous woman won't want to sleep with anybody else. And you know, they talk about how we should allow a woman to be herself and be free to express herself, but we put a cap on men. Men have to do things a certain way. You understand? Um, that 199 says, Kevin, you're so right about being disciplined because a man deserves peace. And when a man tells you he can't wait to get home to his wife after a hard day at work, that says a lot. Absolutely. And when a man sit out in the car because he don't want to go in there and deal with her after a long day's work, that says a lot too, don't it? Because we actually need really good energy. We need positive energy. We need nurturing. We need somebody to care about us and love us. And a lot of women who are toxic will say, "But I ain't your mom. I ain't your mother." But in the same aspect, they'll say, "I need a man who can provide for me. I need a man who can keep a roof over our head and pay these bills, bring some food in this damn house." But men are not saying, "But I ain't your daddy." So it's a broken thing. You understand? Say most people deflect their relationship mishaps and negativity onto other people because they are not happy. Absolutely. And for all of us who criticize a polygamous style relationship because it's not within the norm of what we grew up in, please understand this. Monogamy is not the bee's knees. Divorce is at an all-time high. And we're talking about monogamous relationships, family. Monogamous. We're talking about monogamy. Divorce is at an all-time high. Why? Why are so many people struggling to have longevity in their relationship if monogamy is where it is? That's why I do not understand why people are so invested in your family on this other on this other men's out here having babies by all these different women. And I'm not. See, I'm having babies with the women that I'm committed to. Other men are having babies with women who chose to keep it because they didn't even want the baby. Do you understand? And they're not with them through the pregnancy. They're not with them at the hospital visits. They're not at the baby showers. They're not at the place when they have the baby. They're not helping to raise the child. I'm right here doing all of this, and you can actually see that being displayed. But because I have a polygamous relationship, I'm seen as toxic when I'm doing everything a man's supposed to be doing for his family. Do you understand? But it just goes to show that people are not very open-minded as it means to how they were raised, and that's okay. Um, you already know that if you awaken out of cultural norms, out of religious doctrine, and you choose to live that way, you're going to be condemned because most people don't think that way. Most people or within the confines of what they were socially taught to accept. Let's be real. So, what style of relationship should we have? It should be monogamy. Why do you say that? Well, because where we live, right? There's no understanding of how human beings are, though. And so we live in a prison, a zoo, and don't even realize how zooed we actually are. Okay? We're going against our actual nature because the colonizer says so. And you don't gotta have cages around you to be in a zoo. You just gotta be taught like the elephant who gets attached to a small stick when it's a child, and because or when it's young, when it's a pup, whatever you want to call it, because it can't pull away from that stick when it's a pup, it believes it can't pull away from that stick when it's an adult, so it doesn't even try. And so because we've been psychologically programmed, when we get older, we're not even willing to challenge this shit. So that's why I do not understand why people are so invested in your family. You already I read that one. Uh, when we see ourselves through the eyes of the oppressors, we become worse than our oppressors because essentially we become the prisoner and the one who governs him or her. The agents, Joe will, the agents, we become the agents. We are the agents in the matrix. We are now the ones who are the gatekeepers to true knowledge. Okay, we are the gatekeepers. If us who were the slaves, who were enslaved by the colonizer, we now have the eyes of the colonizer, but we hate slavery. We hate the fact that we were ever enslaved. And we keep saying, who were we before slavery? If you saw who you were before slavery, you would hate that image. You're not ready. And it's just a fact. You would hate to see your people, multiple women committing to one man and them going off and having a bunch of children under that one man and him providing for all of them while they all help provide and raise up a legacy. That would make y'all throw up because in y'all minds, y'all would say, but they sharing a man. So you're not ready to see what type of men what's who we were before slavery. You're not ready to see that. You're not ready. I promise you, you're not ready. She says, right, Nina, because he doing what he's supposed to and to do and take care of his family, and it should not be to please outsiders. Absolutely. See, I forgot to say hi to everyone, and peace to you, Monica, as well. Meant to say to take care of. I got you. I understood that one. So you meant and take, absolutely, or to take, absolutely. So I'm telling you, if you were to actually, and that's why I said we got to be thinkers, which means get those caps to work and get those wheels to turning. Because if you're not willing to think, you're just going to be regurgitating what you see and recreating how you were raised with no thought of does this actually lead to a healthy world? I'm telling you now, if we got in relationships young with the intentions to build a legacy and had as many children as we could and taught them to do exactly what we do, which means to give them jobs. Okay, they all work together to pay off your first home. They all work together to pay off the second one. They all live on the same land where you see them every single day. You see your grandkids every day. They see their cousins every day. That is a tribe, family. That is a tribe. Right now, we live in neighborhoods. And in my neighborhood, none of my family lives anywhere near me. Right? In your neighborhood, I'm sure you don't have your mother and father living next door, your brother living down the street, your cousin living across the street. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you just got neighbors, people who are probably not even likely your same color. And if they are, they're not kin to you at all. Y'all don't talk at all. Y'all might share some groceries here and there, some soap or not soap, but some sugar or some shit. Y'all might help each other out sometimes, but don't be a bother, right? Don't be a nuisance, right? So, and here's the way you raise your family in your home, your neighbor, the person who lives directly beside you, raises their children totally different. Then y'all send y'all children to a school, which is a melting pot of everyone teaching their children different. So if you're teaching your child to practice abstinence, right, and wait until you're in a relationship or married, by the time you send them to school, the cultural thought in school is you got to have sex to even be considered an adult, right? And so the whole thing it flips on its head. So your child goes to school and it eventually succumbs to the general understanding, which is losing your virginity so you can that can be your rites of passage. Oh, you ain't a woman until you done slept around. You ain't a man until you done got some. Well, really, if you raise your children in a tribal state of mind, they would understand that that woman that you sleep with, when you access her, that is your woman. You stay with that woman. You build children with that woman, and that's how it goes. That's how it. That's life. When I was young, I was taught the more women you slept with, the more manly you were. That's what I was taught, and I wasn't necessarily taught this by my predecessors, meaning father, uncles, and things of that nature. But I kind of was. But I was more so taught that by my peers. They were trying to smash the most women they could smash, and so you learn this. You only been with one woman or two women. Are you lame? So people think I got started having sex at an early age. I actually didn't. I don't think I did. I was probably around 17, 16 when I first started, actually having sex. But I can remember being 14 and doing the finger thing, right, with a girl, right, at the movies. And I remember telling someone, they asked me, "Have you ever messed with a? Have you ever had sex before?" I said, "No, but I fingered a girl before, right?" And he said, "Man, if you get your fingers in that pussy, you supposed to be hitting that." And like I got treated like I was a clown or lame because I didn't actually have sex with the girl. You understand? And so it was like, really, was it? I mean, we did that. She touched me down there. I touched her down there. That was a good time for me. We went home and we didn't do anything, right? But it's like if you touch her, then you're supposed to do it. And I kind of get it. It's like, what are you playing with it for if you ain't look? I think I should have been taught a little bit differently. Like, something different should have been said right there. But what that did is it actually infiltrated my mind and made me think I got to get some in order to be validated by this person. You understand? And by my peers. And so as long as I was a virgin, I was getting picked on. Do you understand? So naturally, you're gonna have this mindset to where you're gonna try to get as many as you could. And when I found out that I could get a lot of girls, just let's just say I was known amongst my peers as being the man. Okay. So women would see me or men would see me and be like, man, what are girls at? Okay, good, good, good. Men would see me and be like, man, what are girls at? Because they knew I had a lot of girls, you know. I date really pretty women and bring them around my cousins and stuff so they could see them. You understand? And that I was known for that. Like Kevin, man, he always getting some boy. He can get them, boy. What wasn't being rewarded was the longevity, how long you could stay with them. What was being rewarded was how many women you could get and how fine they were. And that's negative reinforcement. You understand? As it relates to creating a healthy society, that is negative reinforcement, actually. That's not positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is, yeah, you can get them, but can you keep them? Yeah, you got her, but can you keep her around? Can you stay with her? How can you treat her? Can you listen to her issues? Can you relate to her? Can you have a conversation? Can you receive her whenever she's upset? Can you communicate with her? Because these are the aspects that we don't lift up in our communities, man. Instead, it's just how many women can you get? We grew up watching How to Be a Player. We grew up watching Players Club. We grew up watching so many movies, and none of them were fueling or feeding the ability to keep a woman or to make a relationship work. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, a lot of men, probably if you're my age or a little older, you probably grew up with the mentality of you're the man based on how many women you can knock down. You see what I'm saying? And so, like when I tell you guys about me being married so young, I cut all that out. So I cut all of that out, and I did the mature thing, which was be there for my child. You know, um, keep my ass at home, go to work, and come home. Because as a man, if you're going out, even if you got somebody at home, if you're going out too much, that heightens your probability of cheating, especially when you're attractive to women because they will pursue you. You ain't even got to walk up to them; they'll pursue you. So it's not even about um, goodness gracious. It's one thing about living in the city is that the sounds, man. I like the country better because it's peaceful. But when you live in the city, you're gonna hear a lot of action because it's just busy in the city. You know what I mean? What religion am I? I am non-religious. I'm non-religious. Um, I'm non-religious, but I'm all religious context. I love all religious texts. I grow spiritually from reading all religious texts, but I believe they come from man. I believe that man, when in a heightened state of awareness, um, can tap in to some of the greatest information, the greatest knowledge and foresight. Because I've never seen a God speak. I've never seen a God tell a person to write anything. And until then, I don't feel I have a right to believe in something that I can't prove. Do you understand? I stepped away from religion long ago when I found out that I can't prove it. Okay, something that I cannot prove, I can't vouch for. But I can say this: I have found life in every religion, from the Bible to the Bhagavad Gita to the Quran to the teachings of Buddha, to learning about the chakras, to learning about um, uh, the zodiacs. I found life in every bit of that, in every bit of that, and all of that remains with me. So I'm I'm what's going on with that? What? Get your shit together. My acronym is MIND. MIND. Mind is your most important navigational device. I like that. The mind guides the body, and the heart guides the mind. So investing in yourself intellectually and emotionally. I like that. Equanimity. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Gold digger says, Kevin, do you have a favorite philosopher? Ah, man, no, I don't. I'm my favorite philosopher. Believe it or not, often things I say have been said before, but I love having access to my own mind. And I think we all should find that. We all should find the the comfortability in using your own mind. Okay, um, and you should fill it with all knowledge so you can have more to pull from. It helps to get your wheels turning. Really think about some of the philosophies that you read and determine your own. Okay, but I love a lot of philosophers. To name one, Nietzsche. I like Nietzsche. Um, but I like a lot. I like a lot. Again, I think that philosophers are who put the scriptures in the Bible. Not in the Bible, of course. The Council of Nicaea did that, but the books before that, I think these things were written by philosophers. They had a philosophy, they had a way of thinking, they had a way of seeing life, and they documented it. You know what I mean? And so many of their philosophies and what we call scriptures today impact our world even still to this day. You know what I'm saying? And I put a whole lot into the world via my philosophy and how I think. She says, keep evolving and being the king that you are to your family. Thank you so much. And again, that's what will pay off. What in the end, and this is why I decided to stop responding as well. Um, thank you for that. That one is I know that in the end, my family will have what I poured into it, not the gossiping and the things that other people do on my family. And if I dedicate my time and life to my family on accomplishing our goals, that's even better for my legacy. Okay. And it doesn't matter what people have to say. Let's just say they're watching Jamie, Lacey, and myself plant our garden, and they're watching this garden and they're talking shit about it, right? Our garden still grows. It still grows, right? Our vegetables still harvest, our fruit still harvest. The yield is still there, and it's a bigger garden because there's multiple hands working it. And it doesn't matter what anybody has to say. They might say, "Well, it should only be two people in that garden." They can say what they want. The ground doesn't have a problem with what we're doing because it still yields a harvest, right? You understand? And I think that's very beautiful. And so if you're frustrated that people on the outside of your garden, on the outside of your territory, are complaining about how you till your land, um, then you should refocus yourself and put it back on your land because you trying to make them understand why you till your garden the way you do isn't going to help those seeds grow that you're planting. What's going to help the seeds grow that you're planting is watering those seeds, pulling up the weeds that's choking them out. You understand? Nina says, Kevin, you are a good man to your beautiful wives. I would have loved to have a relationship like that. At least I know my man is not cheating on me with 5 to 10 different women. Absolutely. and everybody's hand is on the plow. Everybody is mentally directed in the same place. You understand? To me, that's beautiful. I heard someone say that when I say two or more, when two or more are joined together, I am there also. That I quoted that wrong. I would have them just ask ChatGPT or anything, what does that scripture mean? And it's talking about where two people or more people have the same mentality towards something. Um, Goals are easier reached. Harmony is easier to come by. Working together. If you got five people working towards a goal, you'll get there a lot faster than one person or two people working towards that goal, right? Now, say what you want, but take a man with two wives or more. Say he has children with all three of them, two of them. Okay. Say you have a relationship where it's just a man and one woman. Say they have a child. Who's going to have the most children the fastest? You'd have to say the polygamous union. Whose children are going to be more contributive to the family the fastest? You'd have to say the person with the most children. So in the end, the person with the most children, the most wives to mother those children, would get into the future a whole lot faster than two people. Let's just be honest. Now you might factor in, well, but I got to share, and my emotions would be hurt. Our ancestors didn't give a damn about no emotions because we didn't have no understanding of monogamy. There was no a man is your own. It wasn't like that. It was find a man and work with him. Find a good man and work with him. And they wanted more than one woman because it's a great deal of work and effort to keep a family and land going. See, right now we just going to work for people. We're not tilling land and doing all that stuff now. So of course it don't seem as practical, but it still is. Trust me. She said he just answered you. No religion, but he enjoys all the texts of different religions. Yes, Queen's Quarters. Yes, Jamie, I answered that. She says, yes, they're watching because they're wishing they would have a healthy relationship like yours. I'm driving, so if anything doesn't come out right, I hope you guys get what I'm talking about. I do. I completely understand you, and thank you. And I'll be honest with you. That's why I said I don't have a right to respond to these people because the single people I definitely shouldn't be responding to. They don't even have a person that they're building their life with, man or woman. I shouldn't be responding to them. And if they are in a relationship, if I don't see their one man treating them like I treat my two, while they complain about how I treat my two, the difference is from the smiles on their faces to what we decide to do based on their personalities. While they're complaining about those things, I'm not even seeing the women who are in a relationship get treated by their one man the way I treat my two women. And so if I'm not seeing that displayed, if I can't go look at their channels and look at their pages and learn how to treat a woman based on how their man is treating them, I don't deserve to speak back to them. Number one, because I haven't reached my goals. And so even if they were showing me the best way to do this, I can just learn from them. But I don't have a right to respond anymore. I have goals I have to reach. I have things I have to accomplish. I don't have a right to respond until I've accomplished my goals. Okay. I don't have a right to look at another person's life and tell them how they should be living it until I accomplish my goals. And maybe then I have something I can pour out on somebody else. Do you understand? So what I'm going to do is focus on my family and continue to build my family and showcase what my healthy family looks like. Okay, and be an example. That's what I'm going to do. That's all I can do. What people take from that, what they make from it, that's up to them. They can call us what they want. We can be stupid. We can be dumb, and we can be whatever they want us to be. I believe as long as we still work on our goals and keep our heads focused on the prize, um, we'll have exactly everything that we set out to do. Okay. We always say, here's our slogan in our Rise family. Is it meant to be? And we don't mean meant to be by is it written in the stars? Is it in our mentality? Do we all agree on this thing? And if we all agree on this thing, then it's meant to be. And if we all work towards that goal, we'll have it. Since we've been together, guys, we've done nothing but elevate. We've done nothing but elevate. Right now, our focus is on buying a lot of land. And I don't mean a lot is in a whole lot of land. I mean a lot of land. That's my goal. And I want to buy it on land that's large enough to buy more. Okay. And I want to build on that land and build several houses on that land. One for my daughter, one for my son, one for my other son. And we all live on the same neighborhood, the same tribal land, and we all work together. We trade together. Um, we work together to build out, to create our garden. We work together to put the roofs over our head. because they are me multiplied. I've recreated myself now 4 times. And I promise you, a man believing that it's on him, which is the burden to provide for his whole family, he has the wrong understanding. And that's why I wrote the book that the modern families we know it today as a broken home. When are these things starting breaking ground? Let's see. What do you mean by that, Pearlie? Keep doing great, brother. You are an inspiration. Thank you so much, Joe. That one says you better say it, King. That's right, because a lot of these people want your life and learning your life and learning your life as we speak. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, Gold digger, I should say, absolutely. I love it. Good job, brother. I hope you achieve your goals. Just work very hard all day. I owe it to them to work very hard. And let me just break something down. When I say the modern family as we know it is a broken home, think about this now. A man and a woman, a mother and father, will put their families on their backs, provide for their families, put their children through school, using their income and finances to do it most of the time if the children don't get a scholarship, get them their first cars, likely get them their first apartments. Okay, when the child is out on their own, they still reach back to the parents for help. They'll be there to do that. And the problem with this is the reason it's a broken home is we should have been taught those children to work and contribute to your own home, the roof over your own head, but we didn't. It's baby bird syndrome. A baby bird goes out and gets the food. I mean, the bird goes out and gets the food to feed the baby bird. And that's what we do to our children until they're grown. The baby bird only does this. I mean, the bird only does this while the bird's a baby. But imagine a bird being able to fly on their own. They fly out, don't get no food, come back and sit in the nest. And the mother or father bird still go out and get. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, good, good, good. So imagine this. I'm gonna say it again. The bird, a baby bird has now reached adulthood, and they're still flying out and flying back, expecting the mother or father to give them a worm. That would make no sense, and that's what we're doing. Our children be grown, driving their own cars, and we're paying for the gas. And they come back home and say, "Can I have some money to eat? Can I have some allowance?" And at this stage in life, a lot of them are stronger than you, younger than you, more able than you, right? But they have yet to go out and create a life, right? And that's not on them, that's on us. We have failed them. We have failed to make them responsible early in life. And this is why I say back in the day, if your last name was Blacksmith, your child's name was Blacksmith. Do you understand? Give me a second. Okay. You're welcome, man. Um, Many times we're giving our children an allowance when they're bigger and stronger than us, and it's because we failed to employ them early in life. If you blacksmith, then your child blacksmith. If you were a barber, your child was a barber because they learned from you, they watched you, and you see this now um in cultures that move over to our land. Um, Queen Afia is in here, along with Queen's Quarters. Both my wives are here. But you'll see this, guys. People who are foreigners will move over to the United States, and they will surpass our individual families because they work together. And you might look at them like they're exploiting their children. They got their children at the counter taking my order on Thai rice. They got my children at the counter taking my order on my tacos. They got their children at the counter taking my order on these oxtails or whatever the case may be, if they are Jamaican or something like that. But listen, they got it right. Your children are your first employers, your first business partners, and then the first people who you pass your business to. You're doing your children a justice by putting them to work. Sending them to school, guys, you're sending them to a place that does not care about them. They're going to psychologically disparage your child early. They're going to mistreat them. Jamie and I, we homeschooled justice in Israel. We saw early in life our young black boys were being mistreated. Our young black boys have always been very kind. They don't bother people. But they started coming home being bullied. Not bullied because they were punks, but bullied because people were insulting them and wouldn't leave them alone, constantly bothering them. And when they started fighting back and beating these kids up, now they suspending my kids, calling them bad. But my kids have already reported that these children are messing with them. You understand? And we living in South Carolina, Chester, South Carolina, where it's majority white. And so my sons, we'll tell our sons the first thing, report it to the teacher, report it again. We'll go down there, report it. We'll do something about it. We're going to have a conversation with them. And as soon as my sons snap on them and knock their little asses out, which has happened, now all of a sudden my son's been suspended. He's a problem child. And it doesn't matter who started it. That's what they say. And I don't want my children growing up being gaslit like that. That you have to take bullying, consecutive bullying, and if you respond back, which every person has defense mechanisms. Every animal has either claws, venom, teeth, or something to protect themselves. Do you understand? Piss, something to protect themselves. And so what our school system will teach our children is you don't have a right to protect yourself, regardless of what somebody's doing to you. I wasn't raised like that. I was raised punch them in their mouth if they won't leave you alone. And then people, what happens is people learn to leave you alone. They learn the hard way. And this is exactly how it is in nature. But we're demonizing people's rights to fight. In nature, you better be able to fight if you're messing with somebody. Because there ain't no police coming to get them. Ain't nobody coming to stop you. And there's no consequences for it other than what you're capable of. Do you understand? Ain't nobody to tell. Just in the animal kingdom, there's nobody to tell that you're being bullied. When a lion shows up at another lion's territory to kill him and take his pride, he can't call the lion cops. No, he better be able to fight. So we're raising gardeners instead of warriors, and our children should be warriors and know how to protect themselves. In the school system, and not only is they teaching them wrong, teaching them the wrong history, not teaching them things that would be practical for surviving in life. They don't know anything about credit. They don't know anything about cooking, preparing meals, what medicine is. They only know how to go be workers. And we understand that they don't want smart thinkers. They want workers. And so they're not going to teach our children and give our children the tools to actually survive and thrive in life. They're going to teach them how to go work for somebody. Do you understand? So homeschooling your children, if you can do that, and we were able to do that because when we got back together, of course, I gave us a life to where they could stay home, not have to go to work, and put their time and energy into the children. I also homeschooled our children, and they're very smart and intelligent. Have you ever heard them talk? Have you ever heard them read and dialogue? They are super intelligent, and they did not go to traditional school. And many people don't understand that homeschooling comes with real diplomas. Okay, there's a criteria in whatever state that you live in that you have to. They send you the textbooks and everything that you have to teach your children, and they have to take an actual test at the end of it all and pass that test at the end of it all. My children are all very, very intelligent. Janae's the only one who went to traditional school. Do you understand? But if you look at these tribes in the world, they don't go to some traditional school. Their life is school. School is life. School is you getting up, going and hunting with your parents, learning how to skin that hide with your parents, learning how to plant that seed, learning how to till the ground first, plant that seed, water that seed, how much water each seed needs. You know what I'm saying? building of the home, repairing of the home. All these things were your school. It wasn't learn to make your times tables. You understand? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You understand what I'm saying? It was everything practical as it means to furthering your tribe and your legacy. But see, here, we believe school is everything. Somebody came up with that idea. That's why they say the person who invented college actually never went to college. Do you understand? And so when you place that as high priority, not saying anything's wrong with it necessarily. You understand? Not saying anything's wrong with college or traditional education necessarily. I'm not saying that because some things you need that type of knowledge in based on what skills you're going into. But please understand, we were doctors long before there was a scholarship to obtain to become a doctor. We were surgeons long before. If you look back through our history, we were doing brain surgeries long before there was ever a college. Do you understand? And these things were learned with trial and error, documenting that information and passing it on. And that's how everything was learned. We didn't go to school to learn what was medicine, what grows on trees. But we have all these schools right now, and none of us know what medicine is. But we go to school. Why don't they teach us what medicine is? Because they want us to believe medicine is pharmaceuticals, not the medicine that grows out of the damn universe, that grows out of the ground. So if you're going to begin to learn those things, it's a whole different way of life, a whole different style of understanding for you. So again, I truly believe we should be young thinking about what families we're going to have. I mean, in your adolescence, you should already be thinking about your plan for your family, what that's going to look like, what your husband will look like, what your wife will be like. Do you understand? And already have an idea of who that man's going to be if he's in your foreseeable future, if he's in your purview where you can see him. And I believe a woman can make it known to a man that she sees these features in that, hey, look, um, if you're interested, I see you as a good leader. I see you as a good provider. I see you as having all the necessary traits that are capable of leading a family. And if you find me attractive, if you're interested in me, I just want you to know I'm interested. I think a woman can do that. I think a woman can make herself available to a man that she sees is leading himself the right way. Because how a man behaves when he's single is a good testimony to his character. And if he's taking care of his business, that's a good indication that he can be a good man for you. And I think a man would love that for a woman to see him for who he is, what he can bring to the table as far as the family goes, and make it known to him that, hey, I see you. I just want to let you know I see you. You ain't got to throw yourself out there and try to get him and try to bag him, but you can make yourself known. Look, I see you. I'm just saying, if you're interested, I am too. You see what I'm saying? She's like, hey, Kevin, that part in the back in the day stuff was the best. I'm telling you, we wasn't as sick as people be these days. Absolutely, we weren't. We weren't, man. And we didn't have that little box in front of us, that TV programming us and breaking down the family structure long before you even have an opportunity to even have a family. You understand? We didn't have people telling us what we had to believe in before we had an opportunity to figure out who we were in the universe ourselves. And so most of what we're trying to do is fight through the programming that we've had. And so just like that elephant that was tied to a stick and now it's grown, refuses to pull against it, that's most people in the world. So when they say you pull that stick out of the ground, obviously you're being rebellious. You're not bound to that little stick. You're not bound to this social norm that we are all bound into. So I'm going to bash you for it. Well, me breaking off that stick does nothing to you. But you're going to spend your days trying to criticize what I'm doing. But you're bound to the stick. Be happy where you are. The food that you have access to, that your little stick and rope lets you have access to, you get that. The things that you have access to, the things that you get to enjoy based on your mind, your thinking, then you enjoy that. Why do you even care what I do with my life if it don't have anything to do with you? Bro said, talk that brother. Talk, my brother, talk. Indeed. Thanks, bro. And so I really do believe that if we were to look back at our heritage, look back at our lineage, because we're so focused on who we were before colonization and slavery, but you have to ask yourself, are you even ready to see it, man? Peace to you, Chatty Cathy. Welcome in. Are you even ready to see it? Are you even ready to get a glimpse of who we were before slavery and who we were before colonization? Because I promise many of you are not ready for it. You guys criticize any glimpse of it that you see. You criticize any glimpse of it that you see. I promise you. And this is why, like I said, the Bachelor and the Bachelorette is not criticized for the lifespan they live. Meanwhile, like I said, they slept with more women than I've slept with in the past 6 years. I've only been with two women in the past 6 years. Two. So I'm not a problem for our society. Okay. I'm not, and I can tell you this. Before that, I had a line of women. And look what I did. I left a trail of broken hearts that was mad at me, ready to damn go online and talk junk about me until the damn sky wouldn't blue no more. But I realized that you can't live like that. Even if you set the terms with a person or multiple people, and you say there's no commitment, this is how we're going to get there, it still comes with so many risks and so much toxicity. So it's better for a man to find good women who don't display those characteristics and settle down and be with and provide for them instead of being out here sleeping with multiple women, providing for none of them. But like I said, meanwhile, I'm told that I'm having my cake and eating it too. But meanwhile, I have to be disciplined in this relationship. But a single man can do whatever he wants to, and he's not held to any standard whatsoever. He's single. He can do what he wants. She's single. She can do what she wants. And then when we get together with someone, now we want to negotiate monogamy. But we swear we monogamous. You got to understand there wouldn't be a single life if we were actually monogamous beings because you're entertaining multiple people, even sexually. And so I say that we need to wake up and recognize that we're practicing monogamy, but we're not monogamous. We're practicing monogamy because our culture dictates that. Our social norms dictate that. Our colonizer has dictated that. Now you got to think about this. When this colonizer came in, he says you can only have one wife, and you can only have that wife if I say so. Meanwhile, he went around impregnating all of our sisters who look just like us, all of our queens who look like us. He went around impregnating them and having mulatto children with them, and that's how he fueled the world with his genes and his loins. Meanwhile, he's telling you that you can't even get married unless he says so. Well, you got to have a piece of paper. It's got to be legal. But he walked right back in them slave quarters and sleep with every bit of those girls and have 10, 20 kids at the same time. And then he puts them to work. And this is a broken thing. That's not a healthy thing because those women weren't choosing him. He was conquering them. Pay the Queen's quarters. I enjoyed life back then, and I went through stuff, but life wasn't this hard. Absolutely, absolutely. And believe me, I'm not criticizing monogamy. I think if you find somebody that you're in love with, that you work with, be monogamous. I just don't understand why we are being criticized. And I love them. We're together. I don't deal with any other women. We work together to our future. We're there for our children. We raise them right. We put harmony into the universe. We're not being toxic. But you got many monogamous relationships who do not present those same loving qualities, who break up every other week, every other month, who are not maintaining long relationships, who are not even together to build anything real. You see what I'm saying? You think about this. You could have a man who's really feeling a girl, right? He's really liking her, and he'll be hesitant to create a relationship with her because he'll say to himself, "I just need to know more about her. I don't want to commit just yet and start something that I can't finish or whatever the case may be." But that wasn't how it was back in the day. If you met a woman at the rites of passage, if you met a woman who had those qualities you were looking for and you were attracted to her, she's attracted to you, you made that relationship legitimate. Okay, you told her, "Yeah, you're my woman. I'm your man." And if it don't work out, it don't work out. You have to continue to earn each other daily. But a man solidifies that relationship. He makes it clear, hey, you're the one I want to be with. Let's work together for a future. And he didn't enter the relationship on some just we together type of stuff. He said, this is how I want my relationship to look. And she said, this is how I want my relationship to look. This is where I want my relationship to go. And she said, well, this is where I want my relationship to go. And if you guys can agree on where you want your relationships to go, relationships should be first about business. If you guys are not going to grow a harvest and hunt together, then what the hell are Yante? Let's stop being immature. Relationships ain't just about how you feel about somebody and how good they are in bed or how happy they make you. If you're not in a relationship to build something, it's an immature relationship. Let's just call it what it is. So if you get into a relationship with a woman and say, hey, look, or you get in a relationship with a man and you say, look, our first baby is going to be our business together. Our first baby, our first child, the thing that both of us pour our energy into and nurture up is going to be our businesses. Okay, based on how we run that business, based on how dedicated we see each other be to that business, this is how we know we can have an actual child together. Because your child is your business. I'm telling you now. And if you don't understand that, you got it all wrong. This is why, in every textbook, children are a blessing. They're not curses. Blessings give back. Blessings help to further the legacy. You understand? So think about this. What I was saying was this: we as parents, why a modern family is a broken home. We as parents will dedicate our lives to providing for our children, putting them through school, coming out of our wallet if they don't have a scholarship, buying their first cars, paying for the gas in that car, feeding them, giving them allowances long into adulthood. And here's the problem: when they go get married, and you're old now, if you're sick and need somewhere to go, a lot of times you're on the outside looking in the window at your family that doesn't believe that they have a responsibility to transition you into the next life. They'll put you in a home. You'll be homeless. Do you know how many homeless men provided for a family well into their adulthood? And those children won't even let their father live with them. Do you know how many homeless mothers there are out here on the streets who did not abandon their children? They raised their children. And they got children right now with houses and marriages, but they won't let their own mother live in the house because the elderly are no longer respected or valued. And that's a problem because the elderly is who makes life actually easier because they have knowledge and wisdom to pass down. Think about this. The elderly might not can get out there and hunt with you or fish with you. But while you got a pole in the water, they can tell you how to make a net and catch a bunch of fish at one time. But it's their knowledge that help further the legacy. They can tell you the easiest way to get to that watering hole because they've traveled it before. They have information and knowledge. They've got stories to tell the children that can give them teaching and training that will take you years to pass on. They can do this with a story around a campfire. So if you have a parent who needs somewhere to stay, it's on you. It's your responsibility to bring that parent in. You should be transitioning your parent, but we don't have that understanding. And so, parents out there, if you're older right now, you know you raised a child well into their adulthood, and you know if something happened to you right now, you couldn't go live with them. This is why I say it's a broken home. Because why the hell did you raise a family, but in the end you don't get one? Come on, y'all. You know I'm talking. That is why a lot of Black African Americans that are poor, because they are not building safe homes for their families. You're absolutely right. One person gonna struggle on their own, but if you get with another person, life should be easier. You understand? You got a business partner when you got a dirt. When you get in a relationship, you should have a business partner. They should care about your dreams and your goals and be invested in them just like you. So a man should be able to sit down with a woman and share his goals and his dreams, his future endeavors with her. She should be able to share hers with him. And they both mentally come together to help each other accomplish those damn goals. That's their first baby. She said, I learned early in life that you cannot take care of two or three homes and be successful. How can you leave an inheritance? How can ding ding ding? How can you leave an inheritance when you're trying to pay your bills? Your children are asking you for money. Your siblings are asking you for money. When really y'all should all be working together to build something economical for the whole tribe. Y'all really should be living on the same land. So it's a broken thing when your siblings need something, your nieces need something, your children still need something, but your main house needs you. And now you're divided out in all these places. When if they lived in the same place you were and the garden was outside, they ain't hitting you up for food because they can take their ass back there and work in that garden as well and harvest that garden as well. Y'all live in the same neighborhood. So tribes don't go to each other to borrow shit because everyone contributes to it. Do you understand? So that's a big problem and says a lot about the respect, integrity, and loyalty of today. Absolutely. So think about this. In families today, you might have a child who can go off to the NBA or go off and become successful. And what will happen is the whole tribe will become socially or financially dependent on that one person, which is a burden to that one person. And they'll believe that person owes them something because they went off and made something of themselves. No, you have a duty to your tribe to go become something too, not just rely on somebody else who became something. And this is the home becomes broken because jealousy happens, and then you have the family who will tear family members apart. You have the very families who will tear family members down because that family member isn't making their life better. When really you have a debt and a duty to your tribe to go be successful too. And don't get me wrong, there is a responsibility on the successful child to do more than the people who are not that successful. And I can tell you this because that was true back in the day too. If you had a mighty hunter, okay, the mighty hunter, he could go get a buffalo. He could go get two damn warthogs. He could go get a whole slew of fish. And maybe he's tall, maybe he's strong, and he uses his abilities for hunting, right? He can't eat all that food himself. It'll spoil. So he does share that with his tribe, but it becomes a burden to become reliant on him. You still have to hunt too. Just because he can go hunt and bring back more than you doesn't mean you get to sit back with your hand out. That's the problem. And so families are broken because they don't understand every one of you have a contribution and a duty to give that tribe children, to give your children training, to give your children their first job, which is whatever you do, because your duty is to have a job yourself. So if I'm in a tribe and I don't hunt, I'm a burden to that tribe. If I'm in a tribe and I don't do the hunting with them, I don't do the gathering with them, I don't get out and plant, I don't do anything to help. I don't skin the hide. Okay, I don't butcher the kill. I'm not doing anything to contribute to the household at all. I am a burden. And so if you are in a tribe and you're not contributing anything to your tribe, please understand you're a burden. Even if you go to work every day and you just spend all your money on you and your personal wants, you're a burden to the whole tribe because tribes should stick together, families should stick together. But again, we don't have that understanding. We live in neighborhoods where your neighbors is not your family member. They don't even teach their children the same type of teaching as you. And I'm telling you, if all your family grew up on the same place, in the same um, grounds, where all of you needed each other to survive, and that's what tribes are. They all work together to survive. They have a social dynamic where every one of them still go hunting together. So even if their brother goes off and gets married, he still goes hunting with his brother. He still goes hunting with his cousins. You don't say, "Well, I'm only hunting by myself now because I got married." You know you need more people to hunt, right? How you gonna carry that shit back? So we become islands unto ourselves. And I seem to have gotten off topic because the question was, the original question was, what is it that you find corny about a man? Whenever he can have all the aspects to have a family, why are you finding him corny? What is it about him? And why do men choose loose women over a woman who's disciplined? The answer to all of it is immaturity. The answer to all of it is immaturity because we're not creating families with the intention of legacy. We're not creating families with the intentions of building and getting into the future. And again, we don't have hunting grounds anymore. We're not actually going out here and getting our own kill, even though we should be. But instead, we go to grocery stores, and our hunt now is a place to work for, to work and get money, get paper. Our hunt now is typically a brick and mortar that you sign a W-2 to. And so this is what divides us and makes us islands to ourselves. Because I can't go to work and be helping my brother. I can't go to work and be helping my sister. She can't go to work and be helping me. He can't go to work and be helping me. But if we found a way to create a business together, now all of our work helps each other. Do you understand? That's what I believe in. And that's what I'm creating here. And many people think that I'm requiring other people to be able to do that. I only need my family to do this. I only need my family. I've presented the welcome for people who believe in that and would like to do this with their families, but I don't need them to be able to do this. Do you understand? $40,000 can buy me 40 acres and a mule here. Yeah, $40,000 can buy me land that's what 10 acres of land, and I could put a mansion on that motherfucker for $40,000. That's not my goal. My goal is to buy several acres and put many houses on it. But I can do that with 100 grand. I don't need anybody to be able to do that. But what I've done is open the door for other people to come out here and take advantage of this cheaper land. You understand? With the American US dollar. Because being in America, because of the value of the dollar, we as citizens have a right to go pretty much to any country and get visas and live there. Take advantage of that. Use that to your advantage and get your family into a better future. Because I'm telling you, for us to be one of the richest countries in the world, when you live in America, you won't know that because the money that you're living on, surviving on, could actually thrive somewhere else, but you wouldn't know that. You'll struggle. You will struggle with $2,000 a month. Where somewhere else, that $2,000 a month, you will thrive off of. And you're not doing your country an injustice by leaving. You owe your family. You owe it to your family to create a way of life that's sustainable for them. That's what you owe your family. You don't owe your country a damn thing. Do you understand? Your country doesn't owe you a damn thing. It's all about earning it. And if you can earn the US dollar and live somewhere else, you got to pay taxes on your US dollar. So you still got to pay taxes to your government anyway. They still getting that benefit off of you. You understand? They still get that off of you. And let's be honest, guys, you all have social security cards that have banking account numbers on it that have access to billions of dollars. Did you know that? Who said that? Who said that? Count the numbers on your social security card right now. Count the numbers on a bank account. That is a bank account number. And when you were born, there were billions of dollars attached to you. This is why the government can borrow money. This is why they can go to the Federal Reserve and have money printed in large numbers because they have citizens who will pay them taxes on their way of life. There's billions of dollars associated with your name, and many people are using that account number to pay off houses, cars, and everything. It's illegal; they'll get your ass for it, but there's money in that account, and it's billions of dollars. Please understand that. So you are there, and this is the thing about it: humans are resources. Now you know you go to work; they call it human resources, right? Humans are resources, and the government knows that. You are the government's resource because you are a citizen, okay, because that birth certificate was signed over to them. They have the rights to you. That social security card is your bank account number. It's also what gives the government the right to print money, to borrow money, all these things based on the citizens they have, because their citizens are their resources. The fact that we pay taxes is how America stays afloat. The fact that they pull us over, give us tickets, give us fines for all these things, tell you that every year you got to go pass the emissions test on your car. They don't have that here. So many countries move very differently. There ain't no taxes either. Do you understand? So you are your government's resource, human resources. And so back in the day, we understood that humans were resources, which is why we had as many children as we could have, because humans are resources. The more humans you can create, the larger your tribe was. Yeah. And you father them, you love them, you give them all the things that they need. But your tribe is supposed to help get you and themselves into the future. Do you understand? Now we don't understand what it's about. We think children are just here to love on. We think our spouses are just here to love on. We don't understand there's a responsibility to help them make their dreams come true. There's a responsibility on them to help make your dreams come true. There's a responsibility on each tribal member to help that garden grow, to bring food from the hunt, to bring fish from the hunt, to build houses on that land. Everybody's responsible for this. And so if you are a parent and your children are not showing any responsibility, you haven't given them any responsibility to your overall tribe, we are failing them because they're not going to be disciplined enough to be able to do these things themselves. So the better life that you try to give them where they're free from responsibility, the worse their life will be for that same love in your heart that you gave them. They grew up having no responsibility and they'll spend their life being spoiled and expecting handouts because of how they were raised. It's beneficial to put your children to work early in the same field that you're in. So they criticize me for being able to monetize my children, giving them all pages to be able to do things on, right? My sons, when they get here, they'll be working more on their pages. But these pages generate an income, okay, where they can utilize their talents and all on social media because we live in a different world now. And I'm encouraging you guys, try and take advantage of that world. Try and take advantage of that world because it's here now. Back in the day, all we had was brick and mortar. Brick and mortar. You had to go work for somebody, and starting a business was very difficult because you didn't have the advertising dollars. You could only reach out to people in your own community to sell to that wasn't online. Now that there's online, even if you're not using social media to monetize it, you should be using social media to monetize your businesses. You should be using the internet to stock up and sell your items, sell your products, whatever it is that you're doing. The internet is a bridge to be able to make your life a lot easier. Use it, take advantage of it. Of course, there's going to be people who still living in a caveman mindset who disagree with that. Forget what they have to say, family. You understand? You can now plant a garden on a virtual garden online, and you have to till it the same way. You have to water it the same way. But in the end, it'll yield a harvest. Do you understand? My brother taught me that years ago. I'm working a full-time job, and that's all I've ever did. I've been in sales for most of my life. And he'll be trying to encourage me, man, you need to come create you a page, man. You talented. You got skills, bro. You charismatic. Trust me, man, you can do good there. All this happened by accident. I made a video about why I was leaving religion, and it went viral and made me famous overnight. I lost my job for that video. And back then you weren't monetized simply by your content. Do you understand? So I had to do speaking engagements. But why was I able to do these speaking engagements? Because I was a social media star now, and now people want to hear me come speak. So they invite me out. They book venues. They pay me to come speak. You understand? So my skill was now being utilized for my own survival instead of my skill being utilized to make somebody else rich. And believe me, I've used my skill to make somebody else rich. I've always been a hard worker everywhere I went. And again, I was in sales. When I was in sales, there wasn't a single year where I didn't make the $1 million banquet, which means you sold $1 million worth of product. There wasn't a single year. Jamie can tell you, I had trophies all over my wall because every year, if you enter a $1 million club, you get this plaque. But I got a plaque, but you know what my company got? $1 million in revenue sold. I got a plaque. I might have made between 70 to 100,000 a year, $110,000 a year, my best year, right? So I got $110,000 my best year. Mostly it was about around 75 or 80 bands a year, right? And a plaque. Meanwhile, they got $1 million in products sold off of me. That's not even 1%. That's not even 10%. That's not even 10% of what I was making them, what I was being paid. Do you understand? And so now I have the opportunity to use all of my skills, all of my knowledge, and use that to benefit myself by earning people who want to pay me for my knowledge, for my mentorship of things I've learned throughout my life. You understand? And they're interested in that. And I was able to find a way to monetize myself, even without monetization on social media. I write books. I put my knowledge in books. I have a brilliant mind. And I was using my brilliant mind to sell damn furniture. You understand? So you got to be grateful when certain things happen because they cause you to stretch yourself. They cause you to tap into your greater self. You understand? So, guys, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I hope I've said enough to get your brain to working, to start thinking about what actually is the best way to create a family. What's actually the best way to start one? You understand what I'm saying? What's actually the best way to practically start a family? Should it be based on how happy that individual makes you, how attracted you are individually to that person, or should it be based on what y'all can build together, how well y'all work together? Um, Both of you guys' plans for the future, putting them together and seeing what baby you guys can have from your plan. You understand? And I can tell you, Jamie and we got married young because we created a baby. You understand? And because we're both good people who loved our children and loved each other enough to stick by them and each other, even when I left Jamie many years ago, I still never left my family. I lived right in the same city, right in the same town, and my children was with us with me for a week and with her for a week. And this is why I say I've never left my family, even when we separated. You understand? We've always worked very well together as it means providing for our children. Lacey and I, even though we were attracted to each other, our relationship coming together was a business. We both understood that we could meet each other's, help each other meet each other's goals, and it was more than just what can you do for me on a desire level. What can you do for me on an enjoyment level? Man, mature people don't build relationships based off of that. You build relationships on how far you can get each other into the future. And a lot of women think like that. They'll say, "I won't get with a man who can't provide." That's you saying the same thing. That's kind of you saying the same thing. Why are you saying you won't get with a man who can provide? But what you should be saying is, I can't get with a man who can't work with me, and I can work with him to provide for our family. Not just a man who can go work for somebody and provide for the household as it means to just like as it relates to paying the overhead bills. No, you want a man who can see in you things that could be monetized. You want to be able to see things in your man that maybe he doesn't even see that could be monetized, that could help get y'all into the future. I promise you, a good woman can look her man up and down and say, "Oh, I can work with him. He doesn't know that he has this ability to do this, but I can see it." You understand? I'm hoping it makes sense to you. I met a woman who's an owner operator of a trucking company. Okay, she has a few trucks. She met a guy and she said, "Will you get one of my trucks and drive it?" He had a job already. He was making around 60 bands a year. She says, "I can show you how to make more money than that. We can drive this truck together and take turns driving it." And then they drove it together, took turns driving it. Before you know it, she got pregnant. Now she's sitting at home and he's driving and she's dispatching. They still working together. But she put him in her business. Do you understand? She realized that her staff would listen to a man over her. So she became his mouthpiece. Even though he didn't understand the job like she understood it, she told him the words to say. And now people listen better. They more productive for him because people will listen to a man over a woman. So she recognized the abilities he had, and she learned to utilize them. Just like a man should understand the same things. You come together, guys, and you make it work. Lacey can tell you when I first met her, I was like, "I love how you think. I love your mind. I love how you speak." Have you thought about being a public speaker? Have you thought about making content videos? And before that, she'd never done it. She's like, "No, I never, no." I think she said she had thought about it, but she had never done it before. I said, "Man, you got a skill. You can do that." Now look at her. She has clients who pay her for her mentorship. She has viewership on her page. She has over 200,000 subscribers because she believed what I saw in her. Do you understand? Jamie's the same way. Jamie didn't want to do this type of content stuff. Jamie's had multiple million view videos now from just doing reaction videos and giving her thoughts. She didn't even know she had this type of skill. But I told her, I said, "Man, you're one of the most nurturing women I know. And this doesn't come without knowledge to be this way. So give your ideas, give your thoughts. Trust me, you'll do well." She said, "Well, I don't really like the mentorship thing. I don't like the one-on-ones and stuff like that. I'll try some videos out." And look at her now. She does really great with that. And it brings in an income because you should have an eye to be able to see each other and see the potential in each other, man. I'm doing great, Michael. How you doing, brother? I'm finishing up now, man. Please catch the replay. I dropped a lot of jewels in here. But guys, I'm going to continue to do these little lives like this and just put my thoughts to the atmosphere. It's been far too long since I've done this. Um, but I'm going to get back to it. And again, this is day 2 of not dealing with the drama. No matter what anybody says, what they do, what they say, Kevin don't hear it. Kevin's focused on his vision. And Kevin doesn't have a right to respond to anybody if I haven't met my goals. And I ain't met my goals. I still got to buy this land. I still got to put these houses on it. Each one of my children has to be in their own crib. I can't speak on nothing anybody says about me until I've done that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm here to do something, and I'm not here to argue back and forth. I'm not here to say who is right and wrong. I'm not here to do any of that shit. And what other people's opinions of are on that, I don't give a fuck about. It don't make my garden grow. Okay, so I told my ex-husband that about the truck driving, and um, he said, I don't want to do that. You're right, Kevin. He said, I don't want. He said he don't want to do that. Is that what you're saying, Cynthia? Listen, that's a beautiful business to go into. Both of y'all get in that truck and wheel it out. Y'all get to be together all the time. Wherever you set that truck down, you can go on a vacation that weekend, travel to new places, and put money in y'all's pocket the entire time. And that truck stay moving because you know you got a logbook. That logbook dictates how often you can drive. But if you got another person in that car, in that truck, both of y'all, one of y'all can be asleep while the other one's driving. Do you understand? And y'all can travel the world and make money doing it. I'm telling you, you use these businesses to further your tribe and stack your bread. And then get your own truck, become an owner operator, become a dispatcher, and put multiple rigs on the road. And now you can sit at home and dispatch. Now you can travel the world like we're doing right now because we've managed to be able to use social media, my book sales, and other my mentoring fees and things like that. Lacey's mentoring fees. All of us come together as one conglomerate. It's on me. I prioritize myself to handle the bills. They prioritize themselves on bringing in the garden. And as long as I'm bringing in the hunt and they're bringing in the garden, we have a successful unit. And that is over how happy we make each other. And while it is a high priority that we make each other happy, trust me, that is a high priority. You can see me dedicate my life to that too. You can see them dedicate their lives to me for that. So much so they're called pygmies. You understand? They love me and I love them back. But our first priority is our legacies and our children getting into the future and getting into the future the right way. You understand? Without the trauma of the school system, without the trauma of our social culture that would destroy our children. So to the point they don't even know what relationships are about. They ain't just about having some fun. You understand? And so I do believe that the brick and mortar world has really kind of ruined us. And I think we'd be better off if we actually lived out in the world where we had to survive. The fact that we got these grocery stores and things like that, we don't know how to grow our own food. And I'm telling you, as long as you don't know how to grow your own food, you will be subject to the colonizer. As long as you don't know how to hunt for your own food, you will be subject to the colonizer. And it's a whole lesson to learn how to grow your own food and to hunt for your own food and to fish for your own food. That's why I want to do that. I want to buy land and grow on our own land, grow our own land, grow our own food in our own land, and eliminate the need for grocery stores. Yeah, you'll still need grocery stores for some things, but I'm saying cut out the middleman as much as we can because there ain't a single animal on this planet that's been tricked into going to work instead of going and getting their own food. You can't trick a squirrel into jumping past all these nuts in these trees and coming to work for you for some money. You can't trick a lion into running past all these gazelles and antelope to come work for you for some damn money. But human beings can be tricked right up out of their birthright. You'll be told we have dominion over the whole world. But you will think that you can't go out here and pick your own fruit when it's still growing trees, that you can't hunt your own kill. Listen, when I was working at Broyhill, I was buying deer meat from hunters who, in the weekends, in deer season, would go hunting for deer, butcher it up, and bringing meat to work. Like, yo, it's been in front of me all along, and I wasn't even fucking getting it. I wasn't even getting it. So they wasn't just working; they were also hunting, and we were also the people who relied on their hunt. Deer meat is delicious too. I bring it home. Jamie be scared of it. What is that? Deer meat. It don't even smell the same. Man, I cook that deer meat up. Deer burgers, deer steaks. It tastes a little different, but it's good, man. It's got a gamey taste. It's really good. Fishing. You look at these butcher shops. They go hunting, guys. They go hunting and they start a business selling meat because they know so many of us don't hunt ourselves. Deer sausage, absolutely. It is good. Yes, also, you don't have to do cross country. You can get a couple of box units, absolutely, even vans, and contract out from that. And Amazon pay good. It's hard to get through Amazon because I was going to do that a couple years ago. I was making real big money on social media, sometimes 50,000 a month, and I wanted to buy some box trucks and work and do through Amazon. I just didn't have any drivers. I had a homeboy who was willing to drive one truck, and I was pricing one truck to start off, but I ended up not doing it. You know, but you're absolutely right. That's a good way to make some bread too. And I'm talking about those family members who need a job. They'll be willing to drive those trucks for you. You see what I'm saying? And in many ways, that's how you provide for your own families, providing jobs for the whole family. But nobody should just be sitting out here with their hands out. You understand? But anyway, family, I love you all. Hope you guys got something from this. And we're going to do this again. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, oh, it's in that chaos that you will find yourself. Peace.